everyone. So this is the XP Share MT, and this is me playing Pokemon TCG Online earlier tonight. And I'm actually testing a few decks for cities with whatever I can find online, and just playing around with a Darkrai, Terrakion, Sableye deck. So testing the concept of having a lot of Skyless, which in theory is very good, and especially with computer search and junk hunt on Sableye. It's typically very consistent turn 2 Night Spears with Darkrai, but I haven't been having that luck tonight, as you can see shortly. Apologies for the in-game flicker. I'm not too sure what's going on with the XSplit, but I just can't get it to work properly. Anyways, opening up, I see my opponent starting LandorusEX with the Energy Surge, so that's I don't know what else could have. I don't know what else could have been worse, other than me starting the second Darkrai as well, which would have been silly anyways. So, I mean, he's really showing me everything that he's going to be playing, and it's a pretty decent first turn, considering he played down so many things and Bianca at the same time. And, I mean, the only thing I would cap it would be a Dark Patch right now, or, you know, EV Light, that's also good. So he hits me for 60. Right now, I mean, that's can't do much on the first turn. So, my hand in itself isn't too great. I top deck a Sableye, which, I mean, it could have been worse. It's actually what I was looking for right now. The problem is I'm kind of stuck with Skyla, which of course I will probably be using for computer search. It's definitely by far the optimal player in this deck. I mean, ideally I would want Sableye up there because he can tank at least a hit from at least 3 hits from LandorusEX, and I will be taking a lot of damage on that Darkrai. There's no going about that, considering I start with him. Can only pray he doesn't get a catcher and doesn't finish it off, but I should be safe for at least another turn at this rate. So I do computer search, find the Dark Patch, and I'm going to be obviously Dark Patching the energy to the Darkrai and probably junk hunting for the computer search and something else. At this point, I don't really have too much, so I'm probably going to choose the Energy Search. Yep, there goes the Energy Search. And that's just so that I can definitely power up next turn to Darkrai in case, you know, he doesn't really do too much. And in doing so, even though I might be sacrificing my Darkrai, I do put some damage counters on, and I think I'll be able to end up doing okay, but unfortunately, as you can see here, he does catch up my Darkrai, which suggests he probably has the energy in hand. Oh, no, he doesn't. He just hits me for 60 again, which is interesting because I can just retreat again. It does put more damage on my board, but it's not too devastating for me at this moment. Top decking in, which is, again, an amazing top deck for me. What this means is that I won't get to use the Energy Search, which doesn't really matter. I do have the Computer Search. I can still power up this Darkrai, and I think I will do that, though in hindsight, I mean, it doesn't look like it's the best move, solely because, well, my Darkrai is almost dying, and even if I power it up, it's just going to die the next turn. So, let's see what I do here. I mean, I do run potions in this deck, so I might just use the potion, and using the potion obviously gives me one more turn, because right now I have 120 on me, and using the potion would take it down to 90. So if he wants to keep attacking with the Landorus, I will survive one more turn. But obviously, if he charges up Darkrai, then I'm screwed. And either way, I'm in a pretty terrible position right now, and actually, I don't know what would be better. I think I do use a potion. There we go. I do get the potion. So hopefully I can survive one more turn. He obviously does have the capacity to power up that Darkrai the next turn. So I will retreat, junk hunt again. So let's see what I do. We'll attach the energy as well. Of course, I just bought myself one more turn, in theory. Probably junk hunt again for the computer search, and probably the Dark Patch, since I do have that energy in there. Let's see what the opponent does. So, I actually only run one Tool Scrapper in this deck, and it turns out it's probably going to be very detrimental to my play in this game. I've been toying around with just one tool scrapper because I do run 4 Skylas, and really tool scrapper is good for that one go where you can take the prize when your opponent least expects it, in my opinion at least. So it's still playing around with the idea. I still think 1's enough. Obviously there's going to be the odd game where it's not, and what can you do? So my opponent does attach the second fighting, which means he does have the energy switch, and he has a Pokemon catcher, so that's obviously the godly hand for him, and he does knock out my Darkrai, which I just spent a lot of resources on, and it's not too fun for me. So at this point I'm in a terrible position. He could win next turn if I don't put down a basic with Land's Judgment, and my hand isn't looking too hot right now either. Since my deck is a Darkrai Terrakion deck, I do have the Terrakion, I do have the Fighting Energy in hand. So what I think I will end up doing is actually computer searching for this Terrakion and attaching the Fighting, switching to active, and praying for the energy switch, because frankly another Darkrai is just gonna get knocked out. And the only chance I have is to take some cheap prizes for now and pray for some nice hands. And I do get the energy switch. Of course, I run 4, and I haven't seen one yet. So there was 4 in my deck, and I only had about, I would guess, about 30 decks in my hand, 30 cards in my deck. So I get the revenge off. I kill the Darkrai, which is the best I could have hoped for. And I actually honestly expected this game to pretty much end within 2 or 3 turns, because I don't have much in my hand. As you can see, I have a handful of supporters that I really, luck based. I'm just have to hope I draw something good, which isn't really great for my situation at this point. So I made a misplay by playing that Eviolite on the Terrakion, because actually if he goes all in and he chooses to Land Crush and discard his energies, he could knock out my my Terrakion, and that's actually a pretty big move for him, because it takes all the energy off my board and leaves me with a 40 HP Sableye. Of course I had a big hand, and I guess in his position he might not know what I have. He might think I have something crazy. I mean, from my view, of course, I realized when I put on that Eviolite that I screwed up, and I mean, it really didn't matter. It doesn't save me a turn at all. It basically means nothing. I should have probably either held it or even put it on the... Actually, I probably should have just held it, to be honest, and hope I can get a Darkrai out next turn. Because Sableye, honestly, in this matchup isn't too great. Well, against any fighting isn't too great if you can charge it up. Because it saves a bit of damage, but it's if they want to one hit KO you, they can. So at this point, he didn't use all his energy, which is weird because he did manage to charge up the Darkrai almost. So I don't understand why he didn't just knock out the Terrakion, his only threat really to a Darkrai that he can just retreat into next turn and pretty much take the game. So this actually pretty much saved my game for me, because I would have lost next turn, honestly, if he didn't do that. So right now I think I'm calculating the potion move, and yeah, it does save me a turn, especially if I mean, it forces him to Land Crush me. He can't knock me out with a Night Spear, and he can't, which what I thought he was going to do. He wanted to retreat a Night Spear, and it just pretty much takes the game from there. So it forces him to Land Crush if he wants to knock out my Terrakion. Right now, though, my hand is still terrible. I think I'm just going to Juniper this hand, because he only has 1 card. I don't want to give him more cards, although his 1 card is probably a supporter. But I think Disruption is lower on my priority list at this point, because I really just need cards. I really just need Pokemon on the board with energies. So I Juniper away a huge hand, and I think that's actually all my ends. I think I only play 3 ends in this deck. I've been toying with fewer since this is supposed to be such a fast deck in theory, and more ends late game really doesn't help me at all. So what I get is really awesome. I mean, I get the Darkrai down, I get the Dark Patch, I get a Dark Energy, so I can have an almost fully charged Darkrai at this point. The only issue is I don't think I necessarily want to charge up his Darkrai, so I think, I mean, it might not even have been a great move to put down this Darkrai, because he could have captured and knocked it out, which would have sucked for me. It's actually the last Darkrai in my deck, because I only play 3. That's all I got, and I don't think I would play more anyways. So I only put out one energy on just because I didn't want to really show him what I have, make Darkrai a bigger target than he already is. And I junk hunt for, looks like computer search, and I think I should have junk hunted for an energy search, or just because I need that fighting energy, just in case he, since I have the catcher on me, I could get that fighting energy next turn, or since I have the computer search, who knows what I actually pick up. I pick up the dark patch. Okay, wait, no, what's that? Energy switch. Yeah, so that's actually probably the smarter move, because I always have the opportunity to charge the Darkrai if I wanted to. So that was my turn, and I'm praying that he doesn't knock out the Terrakion. He knocks out the Sableye or something, and I can get the revenge kill on the other Darkrai, which I have the capability of doing. So I guess his last card wasn't a supporter, considering he hasn't played it yet, which, I mean, I guess he really, it was kind of a bluff, I guess. I'm glad I didn't end him in the end. Would have been a pretty terrible move. So he does knock out my Sableye, which is great. I've checked several times now his discard, and he's only has one catcher left. He's burned all three in the early game. So right now, I mean, like, I actually top decked the fighting energy, so I don't even need it, to be honest. What I end up doing is probably going to Dark Patch, fighting energy on the Darkrai, just, get him ready next turn. Honestly, I'm going to knock out the Darkrai with Retaliate again, which is very cheap. I mean, this Terrakion would have taken me 4 prizes already. That's amazing, for 2 energy. I don't even know if I should do anything else in this turn. I mean, what really can Computer Search get me? Playing it down really doesn't help at all. I don't have any energy. I don't have anything really. And I'm playing the random receiver, which is weird because I don't think I would have discarded this hand. Because all I had really were, I think I should have 2 Skylers left, 2 Skylers left, and maybe a Juniper. Maybe, yeah, 2 Junipers. I don't even know why I played that. Why I showed that I had that. Either way, I will knock out the Darkrai. Yeah, so playing that random receiver was silly. I really just kind of showed him exactly what I had. Yeah, there's really nothing much to do this turn, and there we go. I take the 2 prizes, and I know that one of my Terrakions is in my prizes, so I really actually wanted to get one of those. And as you can see, I get 2 Skylas, which definitely did not need at this point. I should still have 3 catchers in my 2 or 3 catchers in my deck, and that's plenty to actually get me the win. And my deck is running pretty thin. I think I've under 15 cards at this point. So I'm actually in a pretty good position if he doesn't knock out my Darkrai. So he takes Terrakion as expected, which I'm perfectly fine with. So he has 2 prizes left. I have 2 prizes left. I'm probably going to Ultra Ball for Sableye because I just want to force him to take that extra prize, and I know he's low on catchers. He only has 1 left. And it also gives me an option to junk hunt, which may be smart in this turn because it'd be great if I can have some... What would I even want? I mean, a catcher, Dark Patches potentially, but to be honest, they're kind of useless. I don't have any Darkrai's left in this deck. I only have 2 Sableyes, I think, left because I lost 1. So I do Ultra Ball, and there we go. There's the 2 Sableyes. I have a few more Ultra Balls in there, and nothing really. Only 3 energy. So my entire hand is kind of useless. I mean, I can't really do anything except for Juniper and Computer Search. So I'm checking the discard. I think at this point I was counting just the number of energies I had left. What can I expect from a Juniper? And I think the right move would be to Computer Search for a Dark Patch, so I can actually get energy on that Sableye. I should have still 2 more energy switches in my deck, or at least 1 more. So in case I need to, I can get it because my deck is running very thin. So I'm probably going to junk hunt. Computer Search Skylight and energy switch, which I do. And, let's see what I take. So I have 1 energy switch, 1 catcher, 2 energy switches, and a catcher in my deck left. I only have 3 catchers in this deck because that's all I have in the game, and I haven't been able to get the next one. So there we go. I Dark Patch onto the Sableye, and I energy switch onto the Darkrai so I can attack this turn. So this was actually kind of a misplay. as well. As you can see, after the Juniper, I do get a catcher and another Dark Patch, which is amazing. I can have plenty of energy on the board, and I'm in a very good spot. And I'll be safe for at least 2 more turns because he needs to manual attach the fighting energy to actually be able to attack my Darkrai, or at least knock it out. The only issue is I didn't notice he had an Eviolite, so I need 3 turns as well to take his prize. So which means that he can actually knock me out. He can actually knock me out before I get the KO if he can somehow stall. So when I played that, I realized, oh crap, I might actually lose this. I might have just thrown this game away. Because a very conservative thing to do, considering he has quite a substantial deck at the moment, and I could have retreated into Sableye and junk hunted for a computer search for the tool scrapper, but turns out my opponent Juniper has probably got nothing and realized he can't pull it out. I'm pretty sure I took out quite a few of his fighting energy because he attached them pretty liberally. So that was an incredibly close game. I'm not sure how I ended up winning that because I had a terrible position in the beginning of the game. But it just comes to show that, I guess, never give up, never surrender, and yeah, you never know what might happen. There's always a late game end. Your opponent might always draw dead, so you never know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry again for the flickering, and I hope to fix it for next time.